We are going to split lesson 1-3 up into two parts. Today we're just going to be talking about the function operations of addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. These are ways to combine two functions with operations that you used to use in Algebra 1. So let's take the function f of x is equal to 2x squared minus x plus 7, and the function g of x is equal to x squared plus 6x minus 1. The first part here, the way that is the function f of x and g of x are being added. These are telling you the functions that are being added. This is telling you the input value. So, for our purposes today, we are not going to change the variable to a number. We are going to leave it just as a variable right now. So, f of x is 2x squared minus x plus 7. And all I've done is replaced where I've had that f of x with what the function represents. I'm going to do the same thing with g of x, but I am going to go ahead and put it inside of a parenthesis because it's a good practice to be in so you don't forget if it is a subtraction problem to distribute. And for this purposes it didn't matter, but if you get in the habit of it with addition, you won't make as many mistakes with subtraction. And we had x squared plus 6x minus 1. And I am going to rewrite this. Getting rid of my parentheses by distributing the plus sign, which doesn't change anything. But again, it's a good habit to be in so you don't make mistakes with subtraction. I'm going to combine like terms, and the first set of like terms I have to combine are my x squareds. So I have 2x squared plus x squared giving me 3x squared. Next set I have are my solid, or no exponent x, my linear x's. I have minus x plus 6x, giving me positive 5x. And the last set I have are my constants. Plus 7 minus 1, giving me a plus 6. On a lot of your homework problems tonight is going to ask you to give the domain as well. The domain on this is all real x's, or all real numbers. So my domain is all real numbers, and it will be all real numbers in anything that we do not have a denominator. And if you have a denominator, you need to check to make sure your denominator can't equal 0 at any point. And we'll do a practice one of those here in a second. So again, we're doing the same thing, but this time with subtraction. So 2x squared minus x plus 7. Again, like I said earlier, I want to go ahead and use those parentheses in my second one. That way, whenever I'm distributing, I remember it has to go to every single term is going to change signs. So this minus is going to go with the x squared, it's going to go with the 6x, and it's going to go with that minus 1. And so 2x squared minus x plus 7 minus x squared minus 6x plus 1. Combining like terms, starting with my x squareds, gives me 2x squared minus x squared gives me x squared. Next is going to be my linear terms. Negative x minus 6x is negative 7x. Lastly is my constant. Plus 7 minus 1 leaves me with plus 8. And again, my domain is all real numbers. Next operation we're going to work is the multiplication. I changed up my functions this time. F of x is equal to 3x squared minus 1. G of x is x squared minus 4x minus 5. And I am going to distribute my 3x squared to all three terms inside of my g of x, giving me 3x cubed minus 12x, 3x to the fourth minus 12x cubed minus 15x squared. Now I'm going to distribute my negative 1 to all three terms. Give me a negative x squared plus 4x plus 5. And I'm combining any like terms, and the only like terms I have are these, my x squareds. So when I combine like terms, I'm left with 3x to the fourth minus 12x cubed, minus 15x squared minus x squared is going to give me negative 16x squared plus 4x plus 5. That whole thing is my answer of the multiplication of f of x and g of x. Again, my domain is all real numbers. I don't have anything in my denominator, so therefore it's all real numbers. This last one we're going to do is division. We have f of x and g of x, and we're dividing f of x by g of x. Well, there's nothing that we can see that can divide into both, but we need to factor our denominator to make sure there's nothing that we're missing and to help us with our domain. And so if I was to factor x squared minus 4x minus 5, another name for factoring is, another thought of factoring is unfoiling. So what would I have to foil in order for me to come up with x squared minus 4x minus 5? And so if I multiplied x minus 5 and x plus 1, I would end up with x squared minus 4x minus 5. So I'm going to rewrite my problem this way. There is nothing that will divide out, but this is really important for me to see, and so I can see what x's my domain cannot be. So my domain is all real numbers except x equals, if I put a 5 in this denominator, this term would be 0. So x can't equal 5. And if I put a -1, the second term would be 0. So x can't equal 5, or x can't equal -1. So those are my two spots that x can't equal. We'll continue this assignment to the second part tomorrow.